At the Marianne Network, we believe in keeping families together. We have business owner Tenet, who's actually a business owner and helps out his clients recently during this tornado that occurred in May. So he actually had a lot of his property destroyed. However, when his tenants gave him funding for their rental, he actually gave it back. So, Mr. Anthony, if there was one word that you can use for the world, because a lot of people are going through a lot of things, what one word would you use to encourage people?
Love.
Thank you for coming on the Mary Ann Show. We appreciate everyone. We do not want you to give up hope. Stay tuned to the Mary Ann Network. Always call 211 for resources. There are millions of people that are in trouble and millions of people that do not know that you can call 211 for A to Z resources. Thank you for watching the Mary Ann Show. At the Marianne Network, we believe in keeping families together. And we're back with Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I like to talk about love, and particularly love with you, because I admire your relationship, well, rather your marriage. I consider myself to have the best of both worlds because I've been married before. And of course, I've experienced the single world longer than the married world, it seems like. And I just don't want the world to give up on love. So today, again, with everything going on in the world, I think it's okay to talk about love, and it's okay to talk about a positive relationship. And that's what we're here for. We're here to talk to you, Mrs. Jones. And we're going to talk to you about love. And what does love mean to you? For me, love means kindness. But what type of advice that you can give couples and even single people on love?
On love. My husband will be joining us here in a little bit.
Okay.
But my advice with love and what it means to me, love means more than just a sensation or a feeling, but love is a sacrifice. Love is showing that you care. It is being there, being present. It is the servitude, and then the union between people, not just in marriage, but as relationships of friends, cousins, family members, partners. It is that sacrifice that is unconditional, and that the willingness to be there and to be present and to be helpful and to serve. That it's a portion of a servitude to me. It is because what we do as foster parents and as a couple is we sacrifice for one another.
And I know you mentioned that it's a sacrifice. And I know that in some of the conversations that you meant that it's not just about being intimate, it's about relationships. But what if
Yes.
you've never taught that? How do you learn that? How do you learn to adapt to what is good? And I know that what gets attention of anyone would be love. And believe it or not,
Mhm.
hey, those things get our attention really fast. But let's just
Yes.
talk about love and people that haven't been taught love, and how do you integrate that with something that people may not even understand or know about?
Right. Well, one of the things that I know is every human being, we desire that sensation, that feeling of comfort and wholesomeness and togetherness. It's a sensation that goes throughout all of us, which takes us into wanting to go into a relationship, wanting to have that bond with another human being. Or, I mean, some people, they have a bond with their pet because they are seeking that uh, almost like a validation, but it's not validation. It is
So you're
that
saying
connect.
people seek validations?
Yeah, they seek connection and
Okay.
bonding. So
I
if
would call it
everybody,
attention.
not quite attention, because I mean, some people need attention, some people don't want no attention
Right,
whatsoever.
that's
But
true.
we all seek that connection, and so and a lot of times love is misunderstood with that sensation and feeling because people will go through, well, I fell out of love with you. Well, you fell out of being responsible. You fell out of caring. You fell out of having a sacrifice. No, you fell out of having that feeling. And that necessarily is not the building. The building of the relationship shouldn't be on a feeling, but understanding what the sacrifice and building a relationship. So when people are wanting and don't know that because they never learned it, the misunderstanding of what love is the reason why breakups happen.
For them. Um, for
There you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. Can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent.
for people
That
not
is very
to judge,
important.
how important is that for people that are in relationships or are dealing with life, not to judge? And hello to your husband.
How you doing?
Hi. So
Hi.
do you want me to repeat the question? What advice can you give people to say, hey, don't go to bed mad?
I'm going to say go to bed mad. Because sometimes it's easier to sleep it off than it is to fight. It depends on the person because some relationships can get violent, and sometimes there's no give. And sometimes you need a moment to think about what just occurred. So there's nothing wrong with like kind of being apart for a couple hours and not even communicating for a couple hours until you feel like you're ready to talk.
So
Because
it's almost like
if
go
you're
in the
just
room,
yelling,
go get back, go in the room, don't you say
yeah,
nothing. It's almost like someone is trying to say something, but you're gonna say, go in that room and don't say nothing. It's okay
Take a
not to
minute.
say something. You agree?
It takes that take that time to exhale, because when you're in the heat of an argument or a debate, it gets bigger and it gets bigger, and
Let me
then
write
you're
that
just now
down.
nagging, and then things that shouldn't have been said or regrets begin to happen. Um, Whereas taking a minute to think about it, to process what the other person is trying to say, because a lot of times that's where the biggest issues is come into play, is that that other person didn't hear the message because they heard one part and all of a sudden that blew up into something even bigger.
it's about resolution.
Mm-hmm.
It's about coming to an understanding like, well, okay, this occurred, let's fix it.
Mhm.
And how do we fix
And
it?
how do we fix it? And sometimes space is good because if you do have two strong-willed people and they both have their opinions, you're not going to get anything accomplished by yelling and screaming anyway.
Don't always get second chances. So, it's okay. But love, I do believe that love will come
We
again.
we had both had second chances with each other.
See, that's
The
what
when I
I ain't
said
gonna do
that
that.
we went through some things, I mean, one of these times we might be able to share our testimony, but it was bad, And one of the things that I recently told him, it was really bad. It should have ended in divorce. You know what I mean? We should have gone our separate ways, but we fought. We both fought from different parts for this relationship to work. I tell him he worked harder than I did because I had given up, but he remained there. And when he said, "I'm going to make the change," he did, and
And
he
that's
began to
that's the
learn
one above. That's the one
what
above.
he needed to do to make it. But one of the things that I said to him was, because he's so funny, he's so charismatic, he should have been a comedian. He just has this vibe about himself that I absolutely love. And
Hey, you're on the
so,
Marianne show. Perform.
and I told him, I said, I'm so glad that we were able to make it and that I got to see this part of you. You know what I mean? Because relationships break up and they go their separate ways, and then the other woman or the other man gets that part of the person that the first wife should have been able to have.
I like what you're
That
saying.
person that they was holding out on because they fear or whatever else was causing the issues, or abandonment or abuse that they went through, that is holding them. But I lit my life up just to be able to be the one to get to see that part of him.
You
When it
know,
came
one
out and it
thing,
just flourished, it was
one thing that Lady O said that made so much sense. One thing she said, two things that I remember many years ago, over 20 years ago. One thing she said there, she wished that there was an individual that could really do what she does. So I am that person. When I see other people with their talk shows, they're actors, but this is the reality of who we are. I'm a talk show host. But the other thing that she said that made so much sense, she said, you are not the person that you were in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, none of us have reached the 60 point. So let's just talk about not being that person, but really being present of who we are and accepting that growth of love.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about being in the present and people understanding that it's okay to be in the present and okay to forgive? Okay to forgive. And we won't talk about, okay, I'm not with this person anymore. Let's go back. No, that's the past. But maybe, when the Lord sees fit for me to have, Mr. Right, some things that I don't want to bring baggage because it's
Right.
sure easy to bring baggage to them, but I want to be able to bring good, and I certainly want them to bring good to me.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Hi, my name is Mary Ann Hamilton, and I'm here at Urban League dropping off water and tissue paper, donating in the recent events. And together we stand. I think it's a good thing to come together and to help out in the community and to let people know that they're not alone. And it's times like these, of course, times like these we don't like, but just pitching in and giving a helping hand, being compassionate, and that's what the Marianne Network does, and NORC does as well. So here we are. Where would you like for us to put these items? I can take them to come right here. Okay, and we have, again, we're here in Urban League, and of course we have more items to bring as well. And we just want to give back to the community and let people know that they're not alone and that we care. So these are items that we're donating. Water, actually, I tried to get the other type of water, but they just had the bottled water. So we care. We don't want you to give up. If I could do a little poem, I would say, butterfly fly, or beautiful people never give up. We care. The world cares. You see all these items that people are donating. You don't have to feel down. There are other resources that you may not know about besides Urban League. So please reach out to your local 211 or call 211 for more resources. For all those people that are watching and they feel, oh, I'm leaving him tomorrow, I'm packing my bags. Let's just hope you unpack your bags and you don't leave. Because one of the mistakes that I feel like I made is that you change personalities when you leave. You change the personalities of the kids, and you change personalities of yourself. And you're mixing those personalities with other things, and you're not the same. So you certainly aren't going to be that same person. And it can go so many different ways that if you stood in there and you hung in there, you see a good part of it. So we want to talk about the good parts of people. We want them to stay. There are a million people that are in trouble, and there are a million resources. So we want them to be able to call 211 for the resources that would line up in their lives, because we're experts, but we're not those types of experts that can fix everything, because everyone thinks that they can fix everything. But if we can offer you good, that's what we want.
Right. Right. Over the past year, I worked on a book called Keys to Self-Awareness. And some of the techniques, many of the techniques that James and I used and other people had poured into us are written in the book. One of the things that about self-awareness is when you understand the baggage from another relationship and where it came from, the root cause of it, and you begin to work on that root so that it can be dug out and disposed of so that you don't take it into another relationship. And you don't portray those things from your past to your children or to other people. You have to know you, just like loving you, you have to know you and why you make some of the decisions you make before you go into trying to help someone else. And the book doesn't go say, oh, this is what you need to do. It makes you ask the questions. It makes you go into critical thinking about yourself. Because what works for me, what works for James, may not work for someone else. But if I ask the right question, and you have to answer that question about yourself, you then can find the answers to help you move forward.
And I like what you said, the answers that will help you move forward. Is that like going inside of yourself? I feel like people are reading my mind. Why do we feel that way?
I guess in any relationship, you can at any given time in a relationship, your mind can be somewhere else. I mean, I can be in a different thought and she can present herself and I would still be thinking about what's on my mind instead of what you just did. But what I've learned from her is because once she mentioned it to me, then I noticed it. There's a lot of things that I wasn't taught as a child, as a young man, as a young boy, even relationship wise, that I had no idea how to be a father. I had no idea how to be a boyfriend. You know, it was all the stuff that I learned from broken relationships and everything. So I brought all that to a marriage, you know, the arguing, the fighting, the control. You bring that luggage right along into a relationship. And so that's what your relationship start out as, because that's what you know. Until you taught or till you understand how to love yourself. And when you learn to love yourself, you learn what it is that you want and how you want to be loved. Then you reciprocate that to the person that you claim to love.
I surrender, I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's up?
Do we have a gun?
At the Marianne Network, we believe in keeping families together. With everything going on in the world, sometimes it's just hard to relax. We have two individuals here, and they're going to tell you some of the things that you can do to relax. What are some of the things that people can do besides eating? Or, of course, you can say eating to relax and just enjoy themselves. Why don't you tell them?
Oh, like we can eat, we can go to the zoo, we can go to the swimming pool. We got a lot of things to do here.
Right, and these are some things to relax so people can stay with their families and just relax in these times. Okay, well, we appreciate you giving that advice. And did you want to say anything? Probably not.
No, I'm okay.
Okay, did you have any last words for people just to make them feel good? Because people are so tense.
I don't, it's complicated to me saying in English, but I can say in French.
Okay, and we just appreciate you coming to St. Louis because you don't live in St. Louis.
No, I'm not.
Okay, where do you live?
In France.
In France. What an honor. You know, so, are the French fries the same?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so are they better here or in France?
Exactly.
They're better here?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on the Mary Ann Show.
Thank you too.
And until you do that,
Yeah, and I noticed that you said until you learn how to love yourself. So many people think that they love themselves, but and that's a question for both of you. Could it be that it could be a communication problem even within yourself that people have? Foster parents are valuable because there was a tornado and it tore up my school, it tore up my area, and all I can think of was, oh my God, I walked in this area in my foster homes. I was a foster kid, and this neighborhood that I grew up in foster areas. I saw my foster mom. I saw my foster dad again because of this tornado. So, speak.
Yeah.
You see, I listened to how you use the word foster and that you were shown love, but only reason why I said that is because we have children who can't understand why we love them and their parents didn't. So there
Yeah,
is there is some
I feel the
there is
same
some
way.
rooted. So when you talk about the root of love, even though you received it, when you found out that they wasn't who they were foster, there is always this thing in your mind of what happened. Why am I here? Like even me, I was told that my father was deceased when I was young. I was 5 years old. I found that man when I was 47.
Mm.
And I found him because the IRS was after me for some money that I supposed to have got from Social Security
Mm.
that my mother received and not me. That's when I found out that my father was alive. So I was told my whole life from the age of 5 that he was deceased and not to worry about it. So growing up in that household when my mother had her relationships, I never felt love from any of them, not even from her, not from her boyfriends, or even her husband, whom she married, who treated me like a stepchild in my
So I
own
can
home.
admit.
Hi, I'm Monica L. Peterson with the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Center, and we're here donating at the Urban League as a result of the storms that just came through and devastated our city, and we need all the help we can get. So we're here helping provide just a few things, some toilet paper and water, and we're happy to help. And Urban League does great things in the city of St. Louis, and so does the Marianne Network and North. So people are out here helping out. They're donating items, and I think some people are picking up items also. How you doing? You with the Urban League?
Yes, ma'am, I
How
am.
you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Chris and I have a nonprofit called North, and this is Marianne with the Marianne.
How you doing,
Network.
ma'am?
Behind the camera.
What are you all doing out here now? We're just donating some things. So,
Oh my God.
So if you don't mind, I don't mind asking. This is the Marianne Network, of course. My name is Mary Ann, and I'm the host of the Mary Ann Show. How do you feel? How does this make you feel coming together in the community?
Great. It feels great. Everybody is coming together. It's a unity thing. It's going to be a collective effort from everybody. We have people coming from everywhere to donate, to come and get things, supplies that they need. It feels great to be out here.
So is there a certain number that they need to call? What are the hours that you are taking donations? Is it not just for today? I know today.
We're taking donations all the way up until Saturday.
Okay.
But even after that, if they come on Sunday next week, they can come up to the pantry and donate.
And what is the location for those that do not know the location?
We right here on Kings Highway and Martin Luther King.
I think it's 1408.
1408 Kings Highway.
Oh, and what are some items that you may need? That maybe
tissue, tarps, paper towels, baby wipes, and pampers.
Okay.
Yes,
and again, is there a phone number that they can reach out if they needed to contact you?
No, ma'am. They just got to come up here.
Okay. Well, we appreciate Urban League. We certainly appreciate NORC, and we certainly appreciate the Marianne Network. And thank you, Urban League, and representatives of Urban League for always caring about the community, always giving out beyond turkey.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There for me. They cared for me. They educated me, because most recently I had a position that I applied for on my job. And even though I had this master's degree, they needed my high school diploma. I'm like, okay, I can give you a diploma from the schools. They say, no, we need your high school diploma. We need to see that you graduated. I say, okay. So I had to go down to border education and I had to go get my high school diploma. So whose name is on that paperwork? Guess whose name is on that paperwork? Ellen
Awesome, Mom and Dad.
and Walter McGee. Who are your parents? You know, it said Gordian, but Ellen and Walter McGee. And that just made me fall down. And that made that almost made me pass out. Because number one, it's history. It's history, but it's like, oh my Lord, this is 2025. And I'm looking at Ellen and Walter McGee's name on my paper. It's like they are watching over me. Like if I want to feel like a daughter, and I hear, and I look at people and I see mothers and fathers, and I feel like, where's my mother and father? But then that Alan and Walter McGee comes to me. That is my mother and father. Don't you ever forget where you came from. Turn on this station and they turn on the Marianne Show and they see you, that they will get better, that they will understand that. You know, they will walk around their house, they will eat their dinner, they will pray together, and they will say, you know what? I feel love. Thank you.